Good morning. It is 6:29 a.m. Today we have a 20-something mile long run on the calendar. Yeah, 20 to 21 mile long run on the calendar. What I wanted to do is take you through my preparation this morning, step by step, how I prepare for long runs to be fueled up, ready to go, to have a great run, and then how to execute on the run and everything that I typically like to do to make sure that I set myself up for success. So that's the plan for this morning. Let's get into it. So I just finished a 20-mile long run. It was probably my 20th consecutive week of doing a 20-mile long run. And I was initially going to title this video, How to Crush Your Next Long Run, or how to dominate a 20-mile long run, how to destroy your longest run of the week. But that was not the vibe today. That was absolutely not the vibe this morning. Boris, the 800-pound gorilla, jumped on my back around mile 14, and we were in survival mode until mile 18, when I was able to shake and shimmy and shove that big old gorilla off my back and kick home free, fighting through, pushing some pace. So instead, we're gonna talk about how to survive the 20-mile long run, because that's what we did this morning, and that's what a lot of marathon training and endurance running is. And I am not a believer in the school of thought that running has to be hard and painful and challenging, and we have to be forged in the fire of struggle to become great. I really don't think that. I think a lot of running and becoming better runners is consistently working through moderate amounts of intensity and stress, and occasionally doing bigger workouts and getting into that demon time zone and pushing through, as you've seen me do in some recent weeks. But a lot of what's gonna make us stronger is consistently getting out here, hitting those 30-minute runs, hitting those 1-hour runs, working up to 90 minutes, and then working up to 2 hours. It does not need to be painful. But today was one of those rare days where it wasn't even a workout. I'm just in the throes of my highest mileage period and most intense period of training ever. We just closed out a 130-mile week with that 20-mile long run. So today I brought you through all of the preparation and the long run, and step by step broke down what I do to survive and sometimes thrive during these long runs. And hopefully this will help you in your training. So with that, let's start with topic number 1, which is sleep. So as we think about how to have a successful long run, it all comes down to preparation. And the biggest thing when talking about preparation is not sleep, it's not nutrition, it's not the gels, it's not the shoes, it's what we did the past 18 months. If we've been consistently running weekly, if we've been consistently getting 30-minute, 45-minute, hour-long runs for the past year and a half, the long run's gonna be a lot easier. So that should be our goal as newer runners, is to build consistency. And if you are a brand new runner and you've never done a 2-hour long run, you've never done a 20-mile long run, you can't go back in time and run for 90 minutes for the past 18 months. But what we can do is prepare leading in to our long run. So if we can't change the history, we can change the current, the present, our habits. All that is to say, being consistent now will set us up for success in the future. But when we're thinking about making our next long run great, sleep and nutrition are the biggest thing. So for me, I try to get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep every night. It does not usually happen, and I'm in the rare period right now where I'm actually averaging about 8 hours, which is just wild. But that does take some sacrifice. That might mean not staying up for an extra hour to watch your favorite show. For me, I said this the other day, I don't really do a lot of things for fun. I hang out with my family for fun. I do this kind of for fun. It's also pseudo a job for me. The only thing I truly do strictly for fun with no monetary or family involvement is watch football, watch the NFL. And until the Chicago Marathon, I will be going to bed at halftime of any of the primetime games because sleep is so important, and the difference between going to bed at 10 p.m. and midnight is huge. If you have that 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. wake up call, getting that extra hour of sleep is huge for repairing our bodies. We got a big old van coming through and attacking these runs with fresher legs. And today was actually the rare week where I did not do my normal wake up. Let's check it out.
It's 6:40 here and I'm just starting to make my coffee. This is a little bit later, it's a lot a bit later than I would prefer for a long run. I generally get up at 4:30 a.m. for these long runs, and I did today. I got out of bed, my alarm was going off at 4:30. I came out here, but I was completely smashed. And I've been saying this to Charlie for the last day or two, and I think because this is a peak week of mileage, even though I've been getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which is just wild, I never get that much sleep consistently. Look at this. I'm about to show you my watch here. Yet last night I got 8 hours and 13 minutes of sleep. If we click in here, my average for the last week is 7:51, but I'm about to hit 130 miles today, or on the week. So I ended up going back into the living room and sleeping for another 2 hours, because if I woke up at 4:30 instead of 6:30, that would have only been 6 hours of sleep. So I clearly needed to rest a little bit. And I think with the increased burden of the mileage, I'm just needing to recover more. So we didn't wake up at the normal time, but having this system in place is more important than doing the same routine. And the system is good sleep and then doing all the preparation. So we're going to get the coffee going, and then we're going to get some breakfast going.
Second, fueling. And the big theme, by the way, it's windy. I know it's windy. I have a wind screen. It is covering the mic 100%. It just gets windy, and then you can hear. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm a hobby jogger. It does not say hobby AV engineer. As I was saying in the beginning, going back to the past 18 months, that's the best thing we could do when it comes to running and just being consistent. It's similar with the nutrition and the sleep. Having healthy habits or habits that support our running are going to be huge. So that should be the goal. Not just getting 8 hours of sleep the night before a long run, but the week before, the month before, and building habits that will not only improve our running, but improve our overall energy levels in the way that we attack life. Same thing with the fueling. So I personally made the decision to eat vegan. I don't eat dairy, I don't eat meat. I don't also think that that's the superior or best way to eat. It's just what works for me. It's just what works for me. That's the way I eat. That's not even the direction I wanted to go with this fueling section. What I wanted to say was being well fueled, not just the morning of the long run, but not being hungry the day before, not being hungry 2 days before, making sure we always have good nutrition hygiene. And what that means is after we finish any run, getting in those quick digesting carbs. So for me, I like to do some orange juice or a piece of bread, even if there's a homemade baked good around or a non-alcoholic beer. Any fast digesting carbs after a run, no matter if it's a 30-minute run or 90-minute run, that's the first thing I do. And then within 2 hours, I like to get that well-rounded meal, which for me is 800 plus calories. I eat probably 3 to 4 meals a day, and I need between 3,300 and 4,000 calories a day to sustain my level of mileage. And I'm a younger male, I have a higher metabolism in general, so you'll need to figure out what that well-rounded meal looks like for you. I like to have a balance of carbs, fat, and protein. Ain't no carbs in that, Seki. That's all fat and protein. Balanced macros, lots of good carbs, lots of good fats, lots of good protein. Doesn't need to be vegan. It doesn't, please don't do the all meat diet. I'm not gonna get into it. Eat a well-balanced diet with all of the macronutrients and a lot of micronutrients. That's what's gonna be the best diet for you. Whether you wanna eat gluten, whether you wanna eat meat, just make sure you get some vegetables in there, and whatever lean protein source that you wanna eat is gonna be great. So when it comes to the pre-run nutrition, if I'm coming into the run already well fueled, I don't need to do much. I could hit a 20-mile long run fasted and be okay. Is that smart? No, especially if we're doing any sort of workout with intensity, but being well fueled throughout the week and having good nutrition habits mean that there's less of an emphasis, less important, less is riding on nailing perfectly the pre-run nutrition, getting the perfect breakfast, because if we get it wrong, have 30% fewer calories, we're gonna be okay because our glycogen stores are fueled, our muscles are fueled up because we've been well fueled throughout the week and we're not going into the long run under fueled. But with that, my favorite pre-run meal, man, it's jumping. I guess it's the church crowd is coming back. I don't know. My favorite pre-run meal for long runs is cinnamon raisin bagel with peanut butter, bananas, and local honey. I will mix it up though. I always have coffee. Let's take a look at what I had today.
So this is my breakfast this morning. 2 pieces of the Team Rose Bread sourdough bread from the farmer's market with the best jam ever from the farmer's market, raspberry amaretto, absolutely fire. And then I have my coffee here. So I usually like to keep it pretty light on the fuel before the long runs. Sometimes I'll also mix in a carb drink. I'm not going to do that today just because of timing. It's also not a hard workout this morning, so I don't need to do all of that. But I will say fueling well before the run is going to make that post-run recovery so much better. All the calories that we get in right now, all the calories that we get in while we're out there are going to make us feel so much better immediately after the run and throughout the day. So this isn't a lot of calories, but this plus those carb gels that I'll be taking out there, plus the gigantic bowl of gnocchi that I had last night, real cheese move in silence like gnocchi, that should be enough to carry us through.
Breakfast, 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 breakfast. This is gonna be a weird one to edit. I'm really trying to just try different formats, different styles of videos to push myself to be better at this. I usually just do straight linear, everything in a line. This one's gonna be a little bit different. Hopefully you guys enjoy the different format. I don't want to be stagnant. After finishing my meal, I like to get out the door in maybe an hour, 90 minutes, if possible, to let things digest. I did not have that hour to 90-minute buffer. And again, that's why I'm not going to title this video, How to Crush the Long Run, How to Dominate the Long Run, because it's not always perfect. And I don't have the exact perfect formula to nail it every time. But by building a system where I know that I'm gonna have the bread and the jam and the peanut butter, it's all there. I don't have to stress out about what time I wake up. If I sleep in a little bit late, I can still get that, get out the door. Maybe I wasn't 100% digested, but it's better to have a few pieces of toast in the stomach than not. And then this is where the intra-flight or in-run nutrition comes into play. If I am gonna be going over 2 hours, I am taking the gels with me. I prefer to do the gels versus the drink. It's just what's working for me right now, and I highly recommend the Maurten gels. They just go down so easily. What I typically like to do is take them every about 4 miles or 30 minutes. Today I was 30 minutes on the dot. Let's check it out. So on these long runs, I like to take gels every 30 minutes. It's about mile 3 right now, 25 minutes in, cruising at a slightly slower pace than normal today. I'm gonna take the first gel. So we got the Maurtens. They go down pretty smooth. It's just what works for me. So I'm gonna bang this gel, And then I'll probably do mile 8, mile 12, and 16 for 4 on the day. I'm gonna go caffeinated first, get a little bit of extra juice. Tastes a little like a melted marshmallow. It's not bad once you get used to it. And they sit in the stomach super easy. All right, we're an hour of the way in. Second gel, non-caffeinated. Yeah, 1 hour, 2 minutes at 8:39 a.m. All right, about to hit mile 12, 90 minutes in, 9:14 a.m. Time for another gel. My second caffeinated of the day. Got that little zing to keep us going. And wow, I've seen 3 dead copperhead snakes out here this morning. These boys really lurking. All right, 2 hours in, 9:41 a.m. Time for the last gel. Morton non-caffeinated. Bring us home. Morton gel. Morton gel. Bring me home. Morton gel. So those Morton gels are what work for me. They do taste a little bit funky and they get a little bit of taking used to, but they don't have a strong taste to them. And a lot of the other fueling products that I've tried, matter of fact, every single other fueling product that I have tried has a strong taste to it. And the downside with that is if you get a big bag, and this is why I don't do the drinks, if you get a big bag of something like the Tailwind, which is another carb source that you can drink out there, the taste starts to get so tiring. If you're eating, or is it eating? Squeezing the same gels every week, like a Huma, for example, which is a chia-based gel, which I tried, and feels a little bit lightweight to me sometimes, like it maybe doesn't have enough calories, regardless of the caloric part. Well, I guess that's the most important part, but what I'm trying to say is the taste of a lot of those really fruity gels can get tiring. But I do like mixing it up. I've been loving the Torque gels. They are a UK-based brand of blokes who put out some of the best flavors in the game. They have rhubarb and custard, they have green apple crumble, they have caramel latte, and how could I forget my friend Banoffee. I didn't even know what Banoffee was before I tried these gels, but Banoffee is absolute flames. Then they also had, did they have a raspberry one maybe? That was good, I forgot. Yeah, they had a yogurt one. That was, if you like yogurt, you'll like it, but imagine squeezing warm Danimals down your throat in the middle of a run. It was not my, not my bag of yogurt for sure, but the flavors of Torque are great. So if you want to try something flavored, I really like those. They also have the caffeinated versions, and I like to alternate between caffeinated and non-caffeinated, and some people like caffeine, some people don't. My whole goal with the long run is to make things as easy as possible. The long run, the conditions, the environment, the setup should be as smooth as possible to facilitate you going out there and just cruising. That's why I will use a race shoe most of the time, or a fast training shoe. I'm gonna use something with speed assistance that makes it easy to hit my paces if I'm doing a workout, or that makes me have a nice, comfortable ride if I'm not. I'm gonna fuel well. I'm not gonna play any mental games to make it challenging for myself. I'm not gonna go into long runs fasted. I wanna make it as easy for myself to hit paces and execute as possible, and that is the whole crux and foundation of all these tips. We wanna fuel well, sleep well, have the right gear, so that it's easy and smooth. And it's not always easy and smooth. And the other thing is the bottle that I have, it's up there on the stairs. I have the Nathan Speed Draw Flask, so that's what you saw me holding when we were out there on the run. It carries about 4 to 5 gels, so if you're gonna be out there for about 2 to 3 hours, it will have enough pockets or enough storage for those 4 to 5 gels. I would recommend taking them every 30 minutes if you can, and then you can fill the rest of it with plain water. That's what I do. I don't like fueling with another carb source with the gels, and I find that the gels are perfect. And if I am doing a workout, I will also do the Morton carb drink beforehand. What you got, people? fourth. I think we're on the fourth thing. Fourth? Regardless of what number. Next up, I wanted to talk about mindset. Mindset and goal setting. So going into the long run with a clear goal, whether that's hitting certain paces if you're following a training plan or just running without stopping, that is hugely helpful for me. And I find that weirdly, I do better on long runs where I have a workout, so where I'm trying to hit certain paces. Today was not that. And I think most of the time that's also because when I don't have a workout in the long run, it's because the programming has set it up. So I've had a lot of harder workouts going into the weekend. And then the long run is strictly to build that endurance and accumulate time on feet. So I'm usually pretty tired going into any of these long runs where I don't have a workout. And I will also personally stack a lot of mileage if I know, hey, I'm not gonna have to try to run 8 miles at a 5:40 pace within a 20 miler on Sunday. So I'm gonna hit a 20-mile double day on Friday. Isn't that a good idea? That's what I did this week, and I paid for it. I paid for it today. I was still able to average a 7:47 pace, but I've been closer to 6:40s and 6:30s over these 20 milers. So I was pretty beat today. But regardless, having a clear goal plan in place for the run is going to be hugely helpful so that when we get into those gritty moments, when Boris comes and jumps on our back, we have something to hold on to. And so there was one run earlier this week. I did 16 miles at a 5:57 pace. That was my race pace tempo workout. I definitely ran it faster than marathon pace, but I wanted to just give it a go. And my mantra that day, I don't know why this popped into my head. My mantra that day was just keep the mustard on the dog. Keep the mustard on the dog. And some days I'm coming out here and saying, demon time, dig deep, make them pay, dominate, I'm beast mode. No, this week it was keep the mustard on the dog. Don't take the mustard off the dog. And I know there's some dude in Denmark right now eating stroop waffles in his mama's basement, wondering what the heck I'm talking about, keep the mustard on the dog. But sometimes you just gotta come up, whatever it is, to keep your mind in it when it gets gritty. And today, it was just hang on. There was no real mantra today, it was just hang on. And then once I got to the end, it was fight back, and it was shake Boris off your back. Cause man, that gorilla got me today. But here's what I was thinking about for mindset today.
For music this morning, I'm listening to the Currency and DJ Fresh album again. This has been on repeat for Gentle Autumn. It's the Tonight Show, the sequel, Currency and DJ Fresh. Absolute bangers on here. Some great Gentle Autumn bangers to just put in the car, roll the window down, go apple picking, go to the farmer's market. This is what you want to have on. Either some Larry June or some Currency. Now, if I'm going to be running a workout, I'm not listening to Currency before. I start off with some Currency, and then I progress to maybe some G Herbo, some Chief Keef, or maybe I'll even go to my Max Cushion Gang playlist if we're running a workout. Lots of Detroit stuff on here. But today, no workout, so likely no Detroit. We're going to keep it pretty chill, keep the vibes coming with some good Currency. Other thing I want to say is I do not do any social media or apps in general before these runs. I try to not even Google things. I will if I have a burning question that I need to get answered, but I generally try to only listen to music, eat the breakfast, and make sure that I'm controlling the energy. I'm not letting anybody else's energy in here. These are sacred moments before we go out there to get our miles in on these longer run mornings.
So we're on the first straightaway here. I'm honestly pretty tired. Feels like I don't have a lot of fight in me today. And when I say that, some days I wake up ready to attack, want to run some fast pace. Today's not a fast paced long run day, so we just gotta stay in it, keep the confidence up, tell ourselves we can do it. I've run dozens of 20-mile long runs this year. So for some of these long runs, the mindset needs to be that attack mode. And in other ones, just needs to be, we can do it. Let's keep plugging away. This is gonna be a good old chipper. Just chipping away each mile, trying to zone out, lock into a groove, and enjoy the beauty of running, which is that it gets us out of the house, outside, into the gentle autumn breeze. Goal setting. Goal setting. We're in no man's land right now. Mile 12 to 16. About 2/3 of the way through. This is where it gets hard mentally, and where having those goals are super helpful. So whether it's hanging on to a certain pace, just making it to the next mile, anything that keeps us plugging away. Today the goal is just to cruise. Makes it a little bit easier. But we're hanging on to about 7:40 pace, trying not to lose focus and slip. And sometimes you have to lie to yourself. Tell yourself it's easy, even if it's not. Last thing, 5. I don't know why I'm doing the numbers, because then I actually think I'm wrong when I'm saying the numbers, and it's gonna be, regardless. Last thing, is that? I think I'm going loopy because of exactly what I'm about to say. Post-run nutrition. This is the key to a successful long run. The long run does not stop when we click off our watch. The long run does not stop when we get back in our car. The long run does not stop when we post the run to Strava. The long run stops when we have that big meal. And this is what I said going back to the beginning. Consistency, building good nutrition habits, sleeping right throughout the week, throughout the months, throughout the years. That's what's gonna set us up for success. The long run stops when we have that big meal. So I always try to get a balanced meal, like I said, within 2 hours, and a big carb heavy meal right after the run. So I'm actually not sure what I'm gonna have in there yet. I will get to that in a second, but I wanna close here by saying consistency over time is gonna be the best thing that you can do. But regardless, some days it's gonna get hard. Today it got hard. I had to dig deep, but that's why we do it, man. So I always wanna be pushing myself, whether it's coming to the running, the formatting of these videos, how I'm delivering information that can hopefully be helpful to you guys. So you guys are gonna see me changing up some things on the channel. Hopefully this was a fun video. I had to dig deep to finish this long run today, so I'll play this little clip for you here, and then we can get to the post-run nutrition. Hopefully this will help some of you guys if you're in that pain cave on your next long run. We are between mile 14 and 15, and the gorilla got me. He jumped on my back. My legs are turning into pudding. I had a feeling this was gonna happen today. We're at 124 miles right now on the week. After this run, we'll be at 130. So some weeks, you just have to embrace the pain of the long run. And that's what it is. This is where we turn good into great. This is where the champions are made, when it gets hard. And not every long run needs to be hard. Not every run needs to get hard. But we earn getting better when it gets hard. So I would invite you to think about that next time it gets hard during a run, and remember, we had to work to get this hard. That means we're working. Because if I were just cruising 3 miles here, 4 miles here this week, and then came out for this 20 miler, it would be a lot easier. But we're pushing ourselves. And that's why I run. So if you run for a similar reason, to get the mental benefits, to get more out of your everyday life, remember that when it gets hard. We're working, we're getting better, we're gonna carry that strength throughout the week. So the next time that Tish from the accounts payable team drops a 57 slide PowerPoint in your email and asks you to redline it, you could say, I bet, I got this, Tish. I just pushed through 2 hours and 27 minutes of pain. A little bit of Times New Roman 12-point font. That ain't nothing to me, cause I'm a hobby jogger. Up your best, Tish. 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 So this is the last thing that I want to leave you guys with. There is no magic bullet. There is no secret. There is no one thing we can do to make these long runs easy. And that's why I'm not going to title this How to Crush Your Long Run. Some days when we're going over 2 hours, we simply don't have the juice. We don't have the fight. And it's often, not often, but occasionally gonna just be hard, and we have to work through it. But if we are consistent over time, if we're consistent with our nutrition, if we're consistent with our sleep, if we're consistent with our runs, running our relaxed days relaxed, hitting our hard days hard, making our best efforts to recover, and I can feel the rumbling in my tummy right now, so I need some food, then it's gonna be a little bit of a higher chance of us having a successful long run. We can't always thrive. Sometimes it's just about survive. But on these survive days, it will be a little bit easier to fight back like I did today, if we've done everything within our power to maintain that system, sleep, fuel, mindset. And trusting in the training. Trusting in everything that we've done. So that is all I have for you today. I'm doing my best to switch things up around here and to get more out of myself. Let me know what other videos you want to see on training. Let me know how I can be better, because that's what I'm trying to do here. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. And remember, some days it's just about survive. That's all we can do. Quick calories after the run. I'm going to do a piece of avocado toast here. This is definitely not enough to replenish, but just some quick carbs, a little bit of fat on there, get the tummy settled, and then in an hour or so, have a bigger meal. So first, a little bit of refuel here.
Just also okay, Daddy. Mommy, I'm gonna
scoot you in, super special.
Our lunch today, nice gentle autumn pasta. We have a spaghetti with some Beyond sausage, zucchini, breadcrumbs, a nice oat milk, butter sauce, vegan brown butter. What would you describe the sauce as?
Like a vegan roux.
Vegan roux? Yeah, looks absolute flames. Hot off the press. Nice balance of carbs, protein, fat. That'll get us through. What do you think of it, Reevesy?
Does it look yummy?
No.
One bite. Everybody knows the rules. It's gonna be hard to beat that
Gnocchi?
pesto gnocchi from last night for a while, but it was fire. That hot off the grill with like the oil and the garlic.
Yeah.
But this is a good lunch pasta.
Yeah. Because it's lighter?
Mm-hmm.
piece de résistance. Sourdough cinnamon sugar donut from our friends at Team Rosebread. This is how you cap off a post-run lunch. Look at this thing. Fluffy sourdough. It's beautiful. One bite, everybody knows the rules. Can't even show this on camera.
Look at that structure. Flames.